Hi guys, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I have a Divine Masculine Twin Flame read for you today, a quite special one for sure. It ends with the Lovers, the Six of Cups, and the Two Flames, as well as the King of Pentacles, which is Akashic Records in this deck, in the Sirian Starseed deck. So there's some special number sequences came through, so I'll get into all of that. Some pretty cool information came in this morning. So it is June 23rd, 2019. The 23 is the King of Wands, the Man of Passion. It's also a 5 of expansion. And then the day adds up to 41, 41 being the Ace of Cups, which is self-love, spiritual love, and new love. And it's also a 5. So lots of expansion energy here. The King of Wands and self-love and new love. And it was 44 when I looked up at the time, where it's now 55. So 44 being the mastering energy, and I just came home where someone cut in front of me with the number 44 on it. And then the next car after that I was behind was 1101. And 55, of course, is the Ace of Swords. You have two aces there. Ace of Truth. Ace of Swords is the truth. What else came up about that? 55 came up in another place as well, but I'm going to get it right into it because there's some interesting details here. Before I started the read, a couple things came up. The idea of how our parents become children again was a code for you there. You know, there's some little clues there about ascending and becoming young again. Also, touchstone, staying in the present moment came up. Touchstone. So maybe something you may want as a touchstone that reminds you always to come back to the present moment. And it was linking me back to that oracle picture I have of the record that looks like Paul and Linda McCartney are on the record. And one of the messages that she had given me the one time was to not always stay in the vortex completely, but go out a couple steps at a time. And a message comes through in the read today about that as well. There's definitely messages as well for the masculine, finally releasing the ex, especially a lot of them who go back and forth. This was it. They're not taking them back anymore. And so the read was done at 10:50 to 51, which is the 10 of Cups and the King of Swords. And right before that, I asked who the Divine Feminine is in this read today, because there were no apparent queens in the cards, the base cards, the Sirian Starseed deck. And the time that those cards pulled was at 10:52, which is the Queen of Swords. So we have the King and Queen of Swords here, both at 10, which is the Destiny card, the wheel, turn for the better. And the cards that had popped out in answer to that question were first, the Four of Pentacles popped right out, which has been coming up a lot, because that's really about being grounded and stable and moderate, okay? And then Strength came out on the bottom of the deck, and then the two from the top that came out were the Wounded Warrior reverse, which can be the surrender, and also the Four of Swords, which is the 5D connection and rest. So the masculine read at 10:50 to 51, the major arcana were the Chariot, Ascension, Transition. So Ascension is the World, Transition the Death card normally. Karma is the Judgment card, and Reflection is the Hermit. The last card, the Lovers. And then the card, one of the cards before the read, because I was guided again to pull 3 from each side, before the read was the Wheel. So we had 7 major arcana here for the read. There was 1 cup, 3 wands, and 1 pentacle, and no swords. The court cards were the Page of Wands, the King of Cups, and then after the read was the King of Pentacles, which is the Akashic Records in this deck, and before the read the Queen of Cups came up. So there was a Queen that came up before the read, which was the Queen of Cups, the King of Cups in the read, and then a Page, and then the King of Pentacles. The numbers that came up were significant today, especially since the Cups, Wands, and Pentacles were 1, 3, 1, which for me is very much about co-creation. The numbers that came up in the read were 2, triple sixes, it was just triple fours, triple sixes, and 2 sevens. So 2, 6, 6, 6, and 7, 7. Some of the masculines may feel like they may feel not worthy to come forward. They may feel like they're damaged merchandise. Although the worst is over, I was getting energy of them still needing to let go of the baton for the fourth leg of the race, but then I was getting that all of a sudden they wake up and that happened already. Okay, so there was a breakup, release your ex. There was some kind of finalization, cutting through the crap, which could definitely be that Ace of Swords. And then came up about that 2 and the 66677 was relating for me. And when I was pulling, I pulled some more cards about for something for me personally, and that was at 59 to 11 o'clock. So it's the minute before the hour, at 11 o'clock, the 11th hour. So the 11th hour was another message. But the 666 and the 77 and the 2 had to do with erring on the light side. Just like I always tell you in the human body, as far as alkaline and acidic, you want to stay in the middle, but err on the side of alkaline, or light and dark, okay? So the same thing was coming up with the 6s and 7s, because the 6s and the 7s are right above the middle, right? So that's the sweet spot. I was also getting from the numerology cards in the colors, they were all together down below, were all orange and yellow, showing us the lower chakras that were kind of be pushed out, and the focus on the higher chakras, which were today the heart and the throat chakras. But it was definitely showing us the orange and yellow chakras, and the messages from those cards that they were not as significant. They were the lower chakras. And there is some focus on that. But it's like just because they're changing how they work within our system. So the 6s and 7s were very important because that is the spot that we need to be. And you always think of 666. 6 has always been referenced to the devil. So I kind of was feeling into that. So not only were the lower chakras came up, and then the heart and the throat, but also the Christ energy of the gold of the communication card. So that was also important with the higher chakras. So the numerology cards that were in the lower chakras, the lower timelines came up, and then line was accentuated there. Effort, self-love, parenting, and self-discipline were considered the lower chakra things to work on. But the higher chakras were communication, the highest of the Christ consciousness, but also moderation and adventure. Adventure is 55. That's where that Ace of Swords came up. Also, the underlying energy for the numerology cards today was environment, which is very green, and it's number 44, which came up just on here, and it just came up on the car in front of me on the way home, which is that 4 of Cups of mastering, grounding, and integrating, and green of the heart, but also green environment. Also the green room. So green room came up as synonymous with green room, vortex, heart, and wave. Okay? So the numbers that came up along the code line for the message today were all about the adventure. And the numbers were 7, 6, 6, and 19. The number 2, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 26, which is the Page of Wands, 67, which is the Knight of Pentacles, and then that 131 I told you about. And then right after I got that, I was getting Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones. How does that go? We got a thing going on. Okay, so that came up, Mrs. Jones, and then I was getting from the numbers the High Priestess, the Devil, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Sovereign, which is intuition, the shadow, and independence, right? So they're both sides of you and your sovereignty. Also the Page of Wands, like I said, and the Knight of Pentacles, for me, the 131 is co-creation, and they were in line with the Page of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, which was very significant. And that'll come into play in this read as well. So 666 is actually 18, the moon, not 15 like the devil, right? But 18 moon is the false light, the distortion, the not fully illuminated. So Lilith, the moon, Adam, the sun, and Eve, the earth. Giver of life, sustainer of life, and the shades between. The moon, 50 shades of gray. New moon is authentic to self. the feminine nothingness, where the full moon is too much masculine being reflected on her, distorts who she is, overshadowing her, exposing dark secrets that are hidden on Gaia. The moon is the alter ego of the feminine subconscious to be brought into the light, or onto Gaia. Okay, so the moon and the earth are the alter egos of the feminine, and the masculine takes turns shedding light on either one of them, the moon and the day, the light and the dark. So as we turn the page, it was 1132, Justice and 32 of the Six of Wands, which came up in the read today. It's all about success and attention and the journey, leading the way, being a leader, but also the victory and good news. Something else came up about the sixes and the sevens. I was getting the sixes were coming up. The reason they were coming up, 3 sixes and 2 sevens today, because the sixes are referencing the feminine mother, because 6 is very much of the motherly love, 1111, and so there needed to be 3 sixes to the 2 sevens of the masculine, which will come up here too. So the first cycle was 3 sixes and 1 7, all right, so 3 parts feminine, which is the dark that we've just been going through these past few years, and 1 part 7, and now we're 3 parts feminine and 2 parts masculine. So there's more masculine that's just been surged into our journey. And then there will be 3 sixes and 3 sevens, but then they come back down to 6 6 7 7, and then just back down to the 6 7, which is the sweet spot. It's literally the middle, but airing to the alkaline side, or the light. So remember that 6 7 is the sweet spot, and 6 7 is the Knight of Pentacles, the loyal servant, which is actually the energy that you will become when you come into union. Okay? So it's not all of the foo-foo ones that the ego wants you to tell you you are. It's the one that is true to you, who you actually are, the sweet spot. So also this was coming up about why men are called simple. They are the conscious, and the feminine is the subconscious, which is known to be much more complicated. The earth and the moon, the masculine part of us trying to get to the truth of the feminine, the dark and the light, sharing his light on the earth and the moon to bring polarized versions together. Can we all be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? All right, so that came up as well, because the masculine brought up the negative stuff about the moon to the feminine, the thorn in his side. So now the feminine only sees the dark side of the moon, the distortion. So I loved how that came out. All right, so continuing on with the read and the code line about the read and about adventures, the divine feminine, wise and clear within the divine masculine, his high vibe energy, see the key, or seek the Lilith energy, or the moon energy, the karmic, in balanced sharing of the Sophia 9, which is the universal feminine consciousness, to reflect as lovers on an adventure. So there has to be like a coming together there, right? Because you're all connected. The divine feminine brings wisdom to the divine masculine high vibe energy. Seeing the key, or seeking the karmic, more feminine energy is helping to balance the sharing energy of giving and receiving, as 6 reflects the lover's adventure. And 6 is all about love, but it's about practical love, everyday love, affection. Before, it was 3 to 1, like I said, and now 3 to 2, masculine, feminine to masculine. So ultimately, like I said, the 2 Knight of Pentacles, humble servants, and the 66 and 77, which actually equals 12 and 14, the wise hanging out man and the patient angel. And the space between 12 and 14, which is 13, and it was just 1441, and 14 is, of course, the Temperance card, and patience, and angels, and then the 41 is that Ace of Cups, again, which today adds up to. So the space between comes up here between the 12 and 14 is 13, the shift, the merge, the surge, the purge. Death, transition, transformation, end is just the tail, the connection, the toggle, so to speak, to the next cycle, dimension, reality, new beginning. It is the adventure, the space where exhilaration becomes awe and then peace in the shift to the sound of silence and begin again. So I was getting where exhilaration, which is just in the moment before, the exhilaration or overflow of happiness becomes awe or feeling overwhelmed, but in a good way, and then the peace, which literally is the shift to the sound of silence and begin again. And that's all I got to say about that. That came up again today. So the Chariot, number 7, is the way the read starts out, with the Queen of Cups, which is nurturing love, the 7 of Swords, risk and downloads, and then the Destiny card of the Wheel, which is energy spirals and timing, divine timing. So the Chariot, or the 7, with all this energy behind backing it up, the 6 being the motherly love, the 7 being source contained and brotherly love, and the 8, the dance of the Knight of Pentacles, to integrate the 9 and open the safety pin again to allow the new beginning and start over again. 5 is the halfway house, so we don't need 1 through 4 so much anymore. The lower chakra system rolled into 10. 4, 3, 2, 1 equals 10. All rolled into 1. Oneness, unity consciousness on earth, or Gaia. So then I was getting to break down the letters, because I was seeing the G in Gaia, the small g, as 9. The 9 is like the 8 that's opened, okay? It opens to the new connection. So G, capital G for God, comes out as C and 7. The small g being the 9, as the 8 opened on lower dimensions. C7, and then the OD of God is O, and then D. So what does the D mean? It's really 1 with a C. So you literally have the number 701 in parentheses. Okay, so that's God, 701. And 701 is what? But 8. So here we are back to the 8 again, the infinity. And then Gaia, in translation for me, for those letters, is God opening up humans to the connection of oneness. The I, which is the chakra system. The small I is the chakra system, and the third eye. That's the lowercase I, which I've brought that up before. 8 is the oneness of many, the energy exchange. 0, as opposed to the 8, is still source contained. Okay? So the difference between them is the sharing of the 8. So this is the human body, so source contained by the human body, and then the 2 8s, or the 2 circles, are definitely the twins, sharing and doing the dance. Also, K came up yesterday as literally energy, KT. So K now is coming up for energy as a symbol of the chakra system. Yeah, okay. So we turn the page, and it's 1209. 12 is the hanging man and the wisdom, and 9, it was just 12, it was just 1902. 19 is the sun, and then 2 of the high priestess, illuminating the high priestess. So the 9 is the hermit. So we start here into the read. Chariot, which is Cancer, and here we are in Cancer season now, with the North Node in Cancer, so very powerful in that, which is all about the motherly energy. And 6 of nurturing motherly love, which is very much about the Queen of Cups as well. So the Chariot, actually let me pick up the cards for you, because I forgot to pull them off the table. Just give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. So the underlying energy is the Chariot, and behind that were the Sage of Chalices, the 7 of Orbs, and the Great Wheel, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so here's the Chariot, and then behind it was the Ace of Sage of Chalices, the Queen of Cups, the Seven of Orbs, or Seven of Swords, but this is much more about downloads, and then the Great Wheel. Okay? That's all just the underlying energy. So the Chariot is bold in Cancer, moving after disconnect or breakup, in coming together to break patterns of daily existence, the routine, and then I was getting that broken down as root and INE. And that comes up in a lot of the medicines like iodine, things like that. So the root of Ein. It's also about Jesus and the feminine energy, but the root, the karmic, okay? So to rise above the solar plexus yellow and transmute energies like the pee that you dump, literally, from top down, allow it to flow, dumping syndrome, disconnecting from lower chakras, brown to yellow, to raise into the gold of the Christ consciousness, the C, the Trinity or Godhead energy, the highest of all vibrations, the most high, the most pure, and dump the rest. It's 2112. The King of Wands hiding behind, reaping rewards of the High Priestess, the shadow and the light, the moon and the earth, and needing to shift from airing to more shadow to airing to more light, right? Because the airing to more shadow is the moon night or nightshade, and then airing and changing to airing to more light, or Earth Day, and Doris Day was coming up there. Awakening more fully to the truth and balance in ascending to the 5D, 2144s, the world, and 44 again, of the mastering and grounding and integrating. Okay, that's what boredom is for. It's time for you to master grounding and integrating of the things that you just expanded on. The hanged man rises above the judge and jury, like Jesus, and descends via meditation to 5D grid, which the judge and jury deems as below them. As meditation rises in our society, the judge will be forced to step down. The 2D to 3D purged as the 4D and up rise, only now answering to one judge. The leprechaun with green boots, higher self, the Christ consciousness, or the collective consciousness. It's actually the collective consciousness as the collective consciousness ascends to the Christ consciousness, which is the highest of most high, right? The oneness, because we are the collective consciousness in our higher self, but to even ascend even further to the highest of the all high. The Queen of Cups reversed, a thing of the past, because she can be really sad and moody and emotional a lot of the time, which can turn into manipulation as well. But the Queen of Cups reversed doesn't have to be manipulated. It can just be somebody who's really sad and crying all the time. Or just down in the dumps, it doesn't have to be something significant. But that's like coming up as now a thing of the past. Like we're done with that part of the journey, the feminine dark side, as the divine timing comes in and the Empress offers herself to it. Her abundance to those who got in trouble at school, or those who were too loud, learning to calm it down a bit. The Sphinx teaching you must learn to run before you can fly. The inspiration that fuels you, all right, as you propel back to propel forward. It's like backpedaling to get momentum forward again. The 9, 10 begin again, and again the energy loops, which they always come back a little bit and then up again to gain momentum. To recreate, you need to begin again, recreate. So you might go back and, it could be something as simple as just redoing or revamping your business, that kind of stuff. But just recreating to ascend, being over emotional about anything, a thing of the past. As Mother Nature goes back to some old stuff that was really good for us, but we overlooked it. Groundedness, saving, being moderate. Happy days. Post-World War II through the 70s, with lower chakras turned off. So if you go back to those times, but with the lower chakras turned off, before we learned to fly, we had to fall a few times, falling over and over and over in dream state, and closing the heart space, losing faith in self, and becoming ungrounded. The mighty dollar and the polarized dogs sitting in front of the chariot and refusing to move out of their polarized consciousness. Release your ex came up for the masculine, and below that was passion. The feminine waking up to their authentic selves. Those with too much pride or ego will have their bubble bust. or develop a leak, or will go back to sleep. 3 waves: the still sleeping, the awake and learning, and those who are teaching and learning. And that was at 12:44. So again, the wisdom of the 12 and the 44 again. And it was just 25:12. So now the Knight of Wands comes in. The passionate movement around the 12, or the hangman of wisdom, now getting up and doing something about it. The 12:45, as we turn the page, is the 45 of the 5 of Cups, which is that passing the baton when they refuse to do it, not letting go of the past. But now we're turning the page on that, as the wounded warrior starts opening up about the nightmare they've been living, as the twins come together to talk. Dungeons and black cats, or dark cats, tripping him up, hidden logs needing to be realigned and reaching benchmarks about the foot or toes, mitosis, transfer of parent cells genome into 2 twin daughter cells, duplication and distribution of chromosomes in genetics, or in other words, twins, a duplication of self. And then I was getting rolling down the river. The genome into twin divine feminine, or the G, God, and gnome, a little person, into twin divine feminine. So it's coming up as the gnome are men who live in very dark places, underground, and hoard treasures. So it's like repeating the ratio of the masculine to feminine energy. So the gnome needs to pick up the 2 daughter twins in order to balance out the 2 to 1, or actually 3 into 1 ratio to rebalance his energy. So 2 feminines to 1 masculine, so the 3 coming into 1. So that was really cool that that came up. And then when I was looking up mytos, M-Y-T-O-S-K came up, so we're adding the K of the energy to mytos, the closest one, and that came up in Arabian horses breeding and training site in Dallas, Texas, the cowboys. Also, M-Y-T-O-C-Z came up, and I was getting like my toes, Christ's Oz, so that the feet, the toes and the feet, are like Christ's Oz to our Oz. Or that can represent the the masculine, his are like, for us to look at Oz is like the masculine to look at your feet. The energy of the Arabian horse. So that was coming up from those 2 things. The masculine's coming out has the energy of the Arabian horse racing in, and I just brought up the Knight of Wands. So environment comes up, which is again number 44 is the underlying energy. And then nature was beneath that, which is number 74. And then I was getting the time period of when I was talking about happy days. So they're referencing specifically from 44 to 74. So the end of World War II into 74 or even 77. Going back to those times, but without the lower chakra system, in more moderate times. So choosing the left path as 5 dark birds fly away, a deer wading down the road just a little bit further, but in plain sight now. Leaving work or not getting along at work to rise above sleepless nights, and Sleepless in Seattle came up there, to take power back. It's all in the heart, the eyes, and the moon cycles. The 3 rays of light, perfect balance at the halfway points, not extremes for good and bad, highs or lows. The Empress reversed, a bit gangrene, nauseous, in lack, abusing power or out of control, mean girl, or purging her ass off. Unable to sleep, or nightmares about her tooting her own horn that's now clogged up, muzzled, so to speak, or not to speak at all. Elephant's trunk made of gold, an elephant's trunk that was made of gold that lightning may have just missed, or was missed in a flood or leaky mess, an electrical fire during Taurus and Gemini over the last 2 months. The eye on the Holy Grail rising above this Empress reversed could be a miscarriage or sickly or wicked person, a ringleader, redhead, or Taurus or Leo. And it was just 30-11, so 30 is that 4 of Wands, Union, and the 11, Justice. Or Leo left the job to find their own dreams, and Divine Masculine is stuck with this Empress reversed. It's not working out and can't sleep. Or a mother may be very sick and he's up nights caring for her, and then rushing to work or home or just anywhere else to get some sleep and connect in the 5D. Recent Release Your Ex came up for him and meet with his twin in a green environment. And the 44 was just coming up again, 30-44. So recently for the masculine is the King of Cups. No one knows what it's like to be the bad man behind blue eyes. And that was at 121 to 122. And as I was writing that down, the train horn was blowing a few times very loudly. No one knows what it's like to be the bad man behind blue eyes. Recovering from depression after being taken down, or now adamantly standing in his own truth at 31-21. 31 is the 5 of Wands, and 21 is the world, the end, completion. We turn the page, it's 122, and another number that came up from the read was 27, which is the Ace of Wands, new passion. So coming out and rising above drama, okay, and the foundation, lack of affection and money, wasted time and energy without option, but to hold back feelings about hermit or self, and coming out to offer something practical as the Knight of Pentacles. Centrally for the masculine is the Page of Wands, or the Seeker of Flames, the masked boy with burning desire, healing from sneakiness, and coming clear about the King of Cups and Queen of Pentacles reversed, and their deception and false light, pulling hairs or splitting them, standing in judgment of the Divine Masculine at the guillotine. Off with her head, I went to write, but Spirit made me write, off with her heart. The Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland, she won't shut up, but the King just puts up with it. The challenge being balance and sharing in divorce, break of commitment or spirituality, and thinking outside the box. Leaving work suddenly, or suddenly he has an epiphany about why things are not working out at work. Creatively and sexually blocked when judging the Divine Feminine, who is himself. The messenger of truth seen as his harsh words taken sweetly by the Divine Feminine, not wanting to see the Divine Masculine's dark side. Destined to find happiness of self, the King of Pentacles is speaking and talking, maybe taking his show on the road with Hermit, merging the two sides of the same coin and merging into one. So now in the head of the masculine is the Pisces energy, crowning in is ascension. The world, the planet, the King of Swords reversed, sitting in uncomfortable feelings, a prisoner of the King of Pentacles, who could be someone else or himself, looking at him like he's crazy, and the King of Pentacles hoarding his money away from the King of Swords reversed, or holding it for him so he doesn't spend it, keeping it safe, or in a safe, away from people at work, away from the Empress reversed, perhaps, and in need of an opportunity or help with a bad decision he made with his twin or the children, in sheltering them, or needing to come clean about doing time in the past. Or someone close to him did time in the past, or father time, or father's time, father going to jail for him, or him for his child. Needing to take the mask off and expose to the world poor choices, lies, and a split, BS, exposing offer of love of the High Priestess with keys to his happiness, a new life. Inspired to romance her and speak about spirituality and ascension. Out of the old and in with the new, or vice versa, who cares? It's all blue. So soon is all about getting attention with the Six of Flames, which is like the Six of Wands, the journeyman, getting attention or giving attention to sovereign from past, or looking back, or just that the sovereign is not present by his side. Starting over in love, the King of Pentacles reversed as upright, justice, and or Libra in the ultimate family life, or hitting up a justice of the peace in the family. Or Divine Masculine or Libra not wanting to be seen as his father's mistakes or seen as his own past mistakes, but truth and balance and abundance only. Could be looking back at his charmed life as a single person, but knowing it really wasn't all that justice would be an abundant family. I turn the page, it's 147. 1 is the Magician, and 47 is the Seven of Cups. The synchronicities, the heaven in their eyes. He sees himself as the Death card, or the portal, the transition. The Scorpio energy, success, attention, victory, reaping rewards he's worked so hard for. Defenseless to the energies and attacks, to the Emperor's reputation, whether that's him or someone else. The Emperor amidst not caring about what others say and do, with the Queen of Wands sitting on top of him, blocking his crown, and the Page of Wands reversed trying to get a message across to the Emperor and or Queen of Wands, who doesn't care what others think. Or children are unruly and playing parent against each other, or Divine Masculine is away from all that, and the Queen of Wands and her father are dealing with them, the kids. And that was 151 of the Magician and the King of Swords. Around the masculine, or how he is seen, is karma or judgment or Aquarius energy, Judgment Day, dropping the burdens, confessing to knowing and trying to stay balanced as or with the King of Wands player. Or with good intentions, but runs out of energy at the last minute, he loses steam, climbing an uphill battle, or he's living apart from karmic and family, or he has a child and they have another or more than one, and then for some reason D-Day came up right there, 12/8/44, which equals 38, the Queen of Cups. And the 44 comes up here again. Clear blocks of the Hermit for the masculine, the Hermit energy, or the Virgo, the old wise person, or the professional, or just the person who spends time alone. Rejection and patience and psychic abilities, secrets, and the High Priestess in general. Hung up on the Queen of Pentacles for adventure, but even more so communication and moderation to keep it moderate. The Lovers, synchronicities, and heaven in their eyes as the Devil and or Capricorn waves high, giving the Hermit attention. A strong love expressing feelings in a heated exchange and taming the beast, the boring ego, in order to come together and hug again. Surrender of the wounded warrior to grief, loss, and regret, to pass the baton from 3 to 4 to the 9 of Cups, happiness with self to get your wish. To come together with twin lovers, which right here were the last cards in the read. So the final card was the Lovers. Oh, by the way, the Hermit was the blocks he needs to clear. Any issues with the Hermit. And then we had the Lovers as the final card with the Six of Cups behind it, the Two of Flames behind that, and then the King of Pentacles, which is Akashic Records, the crystal skull. Okay, so those beautiful energies all came out together here. And I'm getting a lot of heat. I just started sweating my butt off. Whew. So coming together with twin, the Lovers, the Six of Cups, the Two of Wands, or the Two Flames, and the King of Pentacles, Akashic Records, the air that we breathe. To connect to the Akashic Records. Deep breath now to connect. End of family cycle, unhappiness. End of prison and fighting. Don't fence me in. End of the pain of clinging to the past. Now union crowns your pyramid. Leo or ego is stuck in emotions without peace, drained or unhappy or sick or refusing to see the light of day. The I don't know what I wrote there, but the Divine Feminine The sealed divine feminine is speaking to others about negative self-talk, insecurities, and stress, feeling sorry for self, purging and crying and letting it all out. And then I was getting shout, shout, let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Okay, so that was coming up from Tears for Fears. Let down your guard were some of the words from that song. I'd love to break your heart. So saying open up your heart, allow someone in, allow someone to try to connect with you. A bold move to rise above transition portal of karma to unconditional love inspired by balance and sharing. Attention and time alone, complete with lovers, children, twins, the King of Pentacles, Akashics. Risking love, a risky loving move to the King of Cups, rising above the mask to the world, challenged by sharing his inner world in transition, portal, and attention to death and endings of karma as the hermit, wise one, collective consciousness, lovers, innocent, twin flames, Akashic records. Okay? And so this challenge here for the masculine to come out and share his inner self with the world. You know, there's a lot of fear about that. But this is coming out as what's happening. And this read just ended on none other than 2:14. And it started on 11 o'clock on the hour, the 11th hour, and ends on Valentine's Day. Which, by the way, is it the Chinese Valentine's Day? Is, I believe, August 7th. So it's the day before 8/8. And August 7th adds up to 27, August 8th adds up to 28. So there's a lot of powerful energy right there on Lionsgate this year. And then also the 26th, the day before that, 8/6, that adds up to 26. 26 is that page of wands of karma that I always tell you is about karma. So it's like the end of karma as Valentine's Day and Lionsgate comes in. So that's pretty cool. So we started the read at the 11th hour and we end up on Valentine's Day, or Lionsgate. So I'm going to pull you a few oracle cards since things were coming up really well yesterday in the energy. To see what comes up. It's just 4224 of the Two of Cups and the 24 of the Queen of Wands, the karmic energy. So from the Ascension deck, everyone take a deep breath. Okay, for this June 23rd, 2019, for the best for everyone watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned, what do we need to know, what do we need to learn? Be clear and fill with only beautiful, organic love and diamond light. Okay, what is it we need to learn? What is our message? That's it. And just some to count. Oh, it's a lot. The air that we breathe and the water is coming up here. More? This is the second bunch. Hold on. That it? Yep, that's it. Okay. So the bottom of the deck is Archangel Metatron's cloak, which is number 51, the King of Swords. And I'll make that up close so that you can read it if you want. Okay, so 51. Sorry about the light. I stand in my power and lead others forward. Mother Mary's aquamarine mantle is 52, so it's 51 and 52. The King and Queen of Songs, the Queen and King of Song, the King and Queen of Swords are coming up again because they came up in the beginning of the read as the times, 51 and 52. Mother Mary's, and it was all about the mother today. It was just 4411. That's all about the mother energy today, and in Cancer. So I'll read that to you in a minute. But two piles came out for me to count. 1, 2. That first card was 44, by the way, Almoria. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so 13 in this pile, which is topped by water, and I also saw air in this one as it came through, and we're on 4444 now for water. So air and water are really important. Make sure you take those deep breaths and deep breathing every day And make sure you drink enough water. So important. And that's 15 of the shadow energy. So what did I say that was? Is it 13? 3, 6, yeah, 13. All right, so we again, the end. And 13 is not only the portal that he's seeing himself in, the transition, the transformation, but it's the toggle, it's the connection to the next realm. Like 12 would be the end, and 13 is that connection to the next cycle. There is no death, there's only change of energy. The other pile is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9 is in the other pile, so again we have an ending, 13 and 9. They're both ending numbers. So there's definitely endings here for the King and Queen of Swords. And the top card in this pile is 18, Orion. Okay, so you want to see that bottom part too. So again, then we were just talking about the 666 of the devil energy, and here I have right in front of me 15 and 18. So it's not 15, but 18. Because there's a fine line between the devil and the moon, because it's the shadow. Connection. That's a confirmation. Another confirmation, it's 813. I love that. Okay, so Mother Mary's aquamarine mantle. And then we have the 13 and 9 is 22 of the Fool, the pure heart, the leaping of faith. As Mother Mary's aquamarine mantle says, 52, the wondrous universal angel Mary radiates her high-frequency aquamarine light through the universes. She spreads compassion, empathy, kindness, healing, and love. Mother Mary suggests you open your heart and offer everyone who touches your path these higher qualities. Then she will grace you by placing her aquamarine mantle in your aura. You're reminded that there is only love, so there is nothing to forgive. As you wear this mantle, you become a force for healing and light, and the angels will sing blessings over you. The affirmation is, I wear Mother Mary's mantle of love and enfold others in it. Okay. So again, there's lots of confirmations all around about all the things that are coming up today, including the elements. So water and air came up, and then in the other pile, earth came up. So of course, and then we have fire dragons. So all 4 elements came up, but earth and fire are being categorized in one pile, and then air and water in another. So they're being separated there. Earth and fire. And earth or fire are coming up with Mary Magdalene and Isis, Saint Germain, the sun, and the gold and silver cloak and Orion. Okay? Whereas the water and air are coming up with dolphins, the Ascended Master retreat, some more galactic stuff, Hilarion, but also nature, Lord Kuthumi, Kuan Yin, 12 chakras, Paul the Venetian, animals, and El Moria. So it's more softer, feminine energy with the water and air, and more masculine energy over here with even Mary Magdalene and Isis, with the earth and the fire. And that just confirmed again, and 15 is 815 now. So again, the 13 of the ending and the death, 15 of the devil or shadow energy, and then the 18 of the moon. And the 51 and 52. So altogether we had 23. And today's 23 of the King of Wands, which came up multiple times. So altogether there were 23 cards. The Man of Passion. And then we have the Past Life deck. Let's see what comes up with that. I usually get a lot of good channeled energies from the Past Life deck. Take another deep breath. The air that we breathe. June 23rd, 2019. For everyone watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned, the highest, most high. What do we need to know? What do we need to learn? And is there somebody who wants to come in about that? I'm getting Isis. So, alright, we have Isis. That's just for counting. The bottom of the deck is unrequited love. Okay. That miserable looking face. Who wants to be in that energy? Not me, that's for sure. Lessons and blessings, so of the past, are there with unrequited love, which in the read was all about we're now letting go of that past. It no longer exists for us. And then the first card out for you guys is communal living. It was just 50, and now 5005. So very much about that expansion energy of the 10 of Cups of the family and the 5 of the Hierophant. So very much about marriage. Communal living. But the home doesn't look too put together. So somebody might be having some issues with the shape of their home. And then we have karmic relationship, the arts, and monk or nun, but they're all upright, which we haven't had all these upright energies in a while. Okay, so the monk or nun, the arts, and then the karmic relationship. So next to the karmic relationship is where I just put it down as unrequited love. And then we have the communal energy comes out first. And then we have 6 more cards. We have Father, upright, Asia, reversed, and vows. I'll show you 3 at a time so you can see them. Okay, so we have Father, which was reversed yesterday. It's upright today. Asia, minor. I always get that when that's reversed. Asia, minor. And then the vows here, which came out yesterday as well. The other 3 that came up after that are Celtic, imprisonment, or slavery, which is reversed. It was upright yesterday. And then Greco-Roman, which is also reversed. So these 3 are all reversed. Okay, Greco-Roman is reversed, imprisonment or slavery, and Celtic. Okay. So for one situation in a karmic relationship, they're splitting up but on good terms. There also could be a mother involved who's they've cut off from. The communal living situation was not working out for them. There may be some differences in religious beliefs there in the karmic relationship, or they may actually be on the same page as far as the arts and praying, or about the kids, and then their kids need to be monks or nuns. So they may be on the same page about that. I'm getting why can't we be friends again? Why can't we be friends? So there may be some karmics who and divine masculines who are able to be friends or part peacefully. But there's an issue with the communal living situation. So the split is between the divine masculine and his karmic and a mother figure. But it doesn't mean that they're not breaking up. They could not. There'd be some karmics with the divine masculines who are not breaking up in this read. But one part of the situation is leaving, which is good. Disconnecting from a very negative person with unrequited love. Or that's the karmic, and they're pretending to break up and be friends, so that they can manipulate the situation, but that's not how they truly feel. They actually feel like this. Okay, so there could be some manipulation there. And it has to do with housing situations. Oh, and money for the kids' music and their lessons, their religious activities, or keeping them from any activities they don't want them to get into. So today I have father, so this could be daughters and fathers today, specifically coming up in this energy, because it's all feminine energy. And again, vows. With the monk or nun, someone might have a child who's going into being a nun. As well as the arts. So it could be both for one person, or it could be separate kids going into the arts, or they may be like threatening their kids. You have to do this, or you're going to be a nun. And I'm getting with this energy, with the father and the vows of the daughters here, letting go of the harsh ways of how in the Orient the parents always saw themselves, their success by how their children come out. So they're letting go of that mentality. It's 55-22. So 55 is the truth, and 22 is the fool, to let someone live by their own heart and take their own vows because they choose to, and not to be a harsh parent, to be strict and have to live by their rules, and to correct. So whatever father-child relationship was having difficulty yesterday was being overturned today because they've decided to stop being so controlling. They stopped using the yellow chakra. Okay, so let go of using the yellow to cover their heart, which is good. And then we have all these three cards reversed, which is 5606. 56 is the Two of Swords being in your knowing, and the 6 of motherly love. And brotherly love came up in the reading as well. So here we have Greco-Roman reversed. So I'm going to show them to you upright, so you get the energy of what they look like upright. Okay. Okay. But they're all reversed. So this is very good, because these are all about imprisonment, right? Because we have the Colosseum here, and the memorials. So the Colosseum, Lincoln Memorial, some of the other famous buildings that look like that. And the imprisonment or slavery is literally jail cells. All of those energies are going out the window. As well as the Celtic card for me always comes up, the wounds of the church and alcohol and Neanderthal man. All of those are leaving us. They're all reversed, upside down, which is great. It's saying, I'm getting that the gates of hell are open for that energy. It's just a joke. I'm getting double gates like double doors, double security. Iron Man. Lightning strikes twice. The double gate, double lined, double dealing. Lion's Gate. That all of these energies will be done by Lion's Gate. Out the window. Might be referencing too that now the Divine Masculine is becoming doubly sealed. So both will be sealed at this Lion's Gate. There's very much masculine energy here. Like literally Neanderthal man, the imprisoned, huge prison, and then the Colosseum. I'm getting like sealing of the Divine Masculine. Double seals. Wow. Wow. And we've Greco-Roman, you know, with the lions. And Lion's Gate. Cro-Magnon man. I'm getting redhead, orange, orangutan. So that might be a specific message for someone. I don't know if somebody calls someone that they're mad at or don't like. But it could just be a redhead as well. But it's a Neanderthal type man. And it might be Celtic, could be Irish. Could be Italian as well. So I really have energies from the Orient that are affecting the Divine Feminines right now, and then from Ireland and Italy, so European energies affecting the masculines right now. But the feminine is more Oriental. Letting go of those ways of being very strict and keeping the population strict, all of those very disciplined ways. Letting go of that yellow. For some karmic relationships, don't worry, Divine Feminines, it may seem like they're all of a sudden better than they ever were, maybe going to church now, or playing music together, something like that, but it's only, the karmic isn't being real. That's the situation where she's pretending to make everything good so she can keep her stability as far as housing, but this is actually the real energy behind it. So don't pay attention to the 3D world, okay? All right, so I'm going to go into Journey of Love. Take another deep breath. It's 10201. 1 to 1. It's 1 to 1 time. It's coming up. June 23rd, 2019, for everyone watching, the best and highest good of all is concerned. And again for Isis, please. Thank you, Isis. What do we need to know? What do we need to learn? What is your message for us today? Okay. You're going to like this. The bottom of the deck is the Swan. Wow. Spirit cracks me up. It's incredible. 67. The Knight of Pentacles, which I told you would be the twins, both being a Knight of Pentacles when they come into union. And the card that pulled for you guys is 44, the Rings of Time. Incredible. And then the 4 in between, the space in between, the Swan of 67 and the 44 of Rings of Time, are the Blood Dance, which is number 44, the Temple 59, and the Sweet Soul Rising, number 20. Okay, so these come up here like this, so you can see them better. Okay, so Sweet Soul Rising, the Temple, and the Blood Dance. Let me see if I get anything from these cards. The energy between the Temple and the Blood Dance are very similar, and they both are sweeping upward like that into a vortex. But it's not like the Eruption of Light card. It's more turbulent and more colorful and dense. So it's about the physical. It's about the eruption of light, except it's not the etheric eruption, it's the physical eruption into union, basically. The blood dance of the out and the in, the dance, and then the temple of coming together. They're literally making, you know, vows to each other, and the vows card came up, so it's about making vows as well. There could be a child who's making vows and getting married. Or it could just be your innocent souls coming back. Because we have like, the sweet soul rising is like the Page of Cups, and we have that with the Knight of Pentacles coming together. In the temple, in the blood dance, which is 42 is the Two of Cups, 59 is the Five of Swords, and then the 20 of the Judgment. This could also be a court situation over a child. Right? Because it's supposed to be, you know, marriage for life, but they're divorcing. So it's just bringing that up, that's some of the karmic energy, saying you're doing this to the children. So it can go either way. It can literally be a coming together, and it can be about being in court and getting a divorce. I'm getting more marriage than unions, though, because it's very positive, sweet energy. But I'm getting the fine line between love and hate. And I'm getting the ring with the rings of time, you know, the rings in the tree of the wise ones, the aged. As the sweet souls rising come up and may be very wise, the children may have lessons to teach their parents in that blood dance. For some, it may be something physical as well. They just might need to get checked. Let's see, Two of Cups. There's the Five of Swords is here, the 59, which is just adamantly standing in your truth and making vows to be honest always, to stand in your truth with sweet soul rising in front of God, basically. The Two of Cups, the hand fasting, and the rings of time. It's so beautiful, actually. And I'm getting the chambers of the heart. It's like they're getting married inside the chambers of the heart, literally. So cool. And then there's like 4, it doesn't look like a moon because they're not round, they're more tear-shaped. There's 1, 2, 3 tiers. 3 tiers, so 3 levels, so 3 waves of coming into union in the chambers of the heart. Pumping through, and that's so perfect. Because when I described you, I showed you like a pyramid with circles and then the flow between them being the flow between the universes, and how you can, you know, make a quantum leap between universes. So this is kind of like referencing the body and the blood flow around the different organs and getting into the heart chambers. Really cool. And again, I'm going to show you the swan is the underlying energy, and then the rings of time next to each other. So very, very blue and white, actually, with a little bit of red in there. Could be somebody sitting in a wheelchair as well, someone with hip problems. And a little baby birdie. An offer of help. Okay, under the swan is the heart of God as well. So we have the chambers of heart, alright? It's the chambers of God's heart where you will come together in union. And the one that came out is 44 that I need to read. It's just 10909. Again, 909 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. And I opened the book to Eruption of Light, which I was just talking about, if you could see it. But alright, so 44. Rings of Time. Divine timing is granted to us as a gift. Sometimes if we want to be further ahead than we are, that gift can seem like a restriction rather than a generous holding. Much like traffic that moves systematically so that not only one car but many can reach their destination according to a greater harmony and alignment, we are like individual cars that must sometimes accept red lights and at other times can flow swiftly through many green lights. It is just this way, this systematic flow of divine energy through human manifestation. Your spiritual maturation is happening perfectly. There's no need to bother yourself about timing. When doors open, walk through. When there appear to be no such openings, rest and reflect. It was just 1, 10, 10, and 11. The rings of time serve you, beloved. This oracle brings you a message that the divine is completely responsible for the timing of every event, opportunity, and happening of grace in your life. All you need to do is live your life. Everything else is taken care of for you now. This applies to all of your plans and the unfolding of all of your relationships. Let this all breathe and let the divine happen as it will. There is a beautiful silence now as I hold your hands and listen to your eyes. Across the span of moments called time, there are no words that say as much, nor walls that could confine the wings of our feelings or the rhythm of our eyes. Okay, so now it's just saying you can't do anything wrong. Just be and live and find your happiness. And everything is unfolding just as it's supposed to. Okay? So don't worry about making any mistakes. You're all good. Just let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. It was just 1, 11, 11. Okay, so I guess you've had enough. It's a little bit long. I got to show you the pictures of the read. Alright, so this is the basic read for the masculine today. And then, I don't know if that's the next one, so let's see. Okay, and then this is the complete read. Okay. Sorry, I always forget which direction I'm going in. Oh my. Okay guys, rise and be loved.